All right, so with the planets that are on top of his head, I'm gonna go in and use some green oil, and I'm literally just gonna cover the entire piece. Right now I have acrylic as a foundation just so I know where everything is, but now I'm gonna use the green to fill it all the way in, because afterwards I'm gonna go in with some white to mimic kind of where the water is and to shape out. Each of these is gonna have the continent of Africa on them and some area on it, but they'll all be their own different arts. And then afterwards I will use some cerulean blue, which will be really, really beautiful. It's gonna be so beautiful. And then I'm going to go over that with the dark so that we can really see what it looks like. So let me just go in here with this. Right now I'm letting what I did with my stippling, with my fan brush, with the grass and the trees and things, I'm letting that dry a little bit. I think what I'm gonna do is go in, finish these. I'm gonna go back in and use green to fill out my clouds right now. And then I'm gonna put some green in the water where the highlights are. Because again, that my green is my in-between color. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that started. And I'll just show you a little bit of a technique and then I'm just gonna go right into it. So when you're blending spheres, because it's round, there's always a point on it that has some type of highlight. And then because depending on how smooth your sphere is, the gradient will go from that small little highlight and it will start to go lighter. It will start to go darker, 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 darker until it hits the shadow on the other side of the sphere as well. So you'll see a little bit of the shadow because these are all sitting on top of each other. So I have some kind of indications or demarcations of that here. And then the same thing will happen once I go back over these. I'll have to redo the blending so they feel like they're sitting in the bowl and that they're sitting on top of each other. I also want them to feel like they're kind of moving because he's moving. And so the highlights will be kind of all over the place. They'll be kind of uniform because I want it to still feel like they're all in the same place and the light's hitting them at pretty much the same place. But I'm going to be free with where they are. Like I'm not going to be super on point just because I want them to feel like, you know, he's moving and the apples are, in this case, going to be the planets that are kind of moving with him, but they're still staying balanced and they're still staying on his head. So we're going to just go in and start to, you don't need a whole lot of paint here. You're going to go in and then just do circular motions here and just fill it all in. Just try to make sure each step that you go, each color that you go on, that your circle gets more and more sharp, because we correct this as we go so that things look super realistic, right? So let's go do the same thing here. There will be some areas where the green does not need to be as strong, i.e. here, where there's like, these kind of fall behind the ones that are in front. So there'll be a little bit of a faint green, but it won't be super duper bright. So I'm going to use just the rest of the paint that's left over on this brush. Take these circular motions around like this, right? And then when I go back in with the blue, I can make those even darker. So I don't even have to worry if I put too much paint on them right now. This one is almost kind of half of its in, so I'm gonna make a little semicircle here. Just make sure nice and smooth. So that will create the demarcation for where the lip of the bowl is, and it will give the illusion that these are sitting inside the bowl and not just sitting on top of it like a flat surface. And then here, I'm just using the rest of the paint up on my brush, not dipping it back in. If I need to make corrections, I'll dip it back in the paint. But right now, I'm just trying to get my starter spheres for my planets. Oh, this is gonna be so great. I'm so excited about this. So great. All right, yeah, it's already filling in. So I think I'm gonna do the planets. I might get into his shirt with some green. I have to actually go somewhere in a little bit, so I have to get ready. But before I leave, I want to have a good amount of this done. So when I come back, I'll be nice and inspired. I did just dip my paintbrush in some paint because I want to get a little bit more here. It's starting to dry out on me. So again, just circle, 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 right? All right, just filling it in, just filling in each of your circles. And this goes for like, you can do this type of shading with any type of shape. With a box, you'll have facing you, depending on what angle you're looking at, if it's perspective and axonometric, excuse me. If it's tilted towards you, you'll see the light here. You'll see a panel that is a little darker, and then you'll see a panel that is super light on top, which that's where the light will be hitting. And then the shadow will kind of bounce back from it. That goes with anything. Blending is a really beautiful tool, especially when it comes to oil, because the paint itself is very smooth and it gives you just a very realistic feel. Acrylic has a shine to it as opposed to oil, which has a little bit of it has a shimmer, but it literally mimics how light hits just a regular object in real space, if that makes sense. It's the best way I could explain that. So just running out of little paint, so let me dip that back in. I'm gonna finish the rest of these up. And then I'm gonna play with one or two of them just so I can kind of get an idea. Because I wanna blend now so that it looks smooth. I wanna blend now with the other colors. I can wait for the blue, because that's gonna be on top later. But I do wanna blend others, so I'm gonna add a little, I'm gonna use one or two of them and create just an outline as to how I want to do these. This in, I need some more paint. Oop, that's way too much, okay, there we go. This one's just kind of on the edge there, hanging out. This one's also hidden a little bit. This one's about to fall off the bucket. I think the shape's a little janky. Let me fix that. There we go. Get the line a little sharper on this one. Step back from it real quick. See what we think. Okay, I like that. I like that. Oh, I missed one on top. And then let's do this bucket too. There is some highlight here. And then the shadow right there where I started to use the blue. And then there's even a little highlight down here. So I'm just gonna use this before we go back in with the yellow and the white to just give myself a nice mid-tone in between. So we're gonna go across here and just following the shape of the bowl. The bowl is curving around, so we're just gonna kind of follow that curve, just back and forth, straight strokes, and filling everything in here. And just leaving the blue so that we can start to develop the shadow underneath the lip of the bucket. So this goes all across. This is pretty even across. There are some small, just very faint shadows, which we'll add in when we go back on top with the oil, the blue oil, excuse me. So this is just a pretty even strip across. And then there is a nice little highlight right here. So I'm going to switch my brush because I need something a little bit smaller just because the highlight is a lot thinner than just this big swath across. So let's see what we got. I like this. I think we can use this. All right. A little bit of a smaller brush, maybe by a quarter inch. And I'm just gonna take a straight line across. Right, this lip goes out a little bit. This lip goes out a little bit like that. And it comes down and follows that shape. Same thing here. Let's go across the top with our straight line. We want this to be relatively uniform because we want it to feel like a product, a bowl. And we see I'm leaving that little bit of slither of blue just so I know where this line breaks so that I can add shadows later. We're bringing this all the way across here, and it kind of curves around actually there like that. Move my line out a little bit. Boom. So that, excuse me, that bowl's starting to take shape a little bit. And let's get into these. So these are little like faint shadows that are bouncing off of this cloth here. So we want to follow the shape of the bowl. And then got some over here, there, and it's kind of some out on the side here, like that. Yep. And then we can just go ahead and add some green here for this cloth. It's kind of a regulated pattern, so I'm just gonna do the dots in a diagonal shape, and then I'll come back in and define that more. It kind of goes back here too. Drag them out. What else can I put green on for now? Do this. Let's do this building that's in the background. It's very faint. All you kind of see is like a very blurred Gaussian blur of the windows, and the windows are like the darkest thing on the building. Everything else looks like it's just a white building. So I'm just gonna go and just reinforce the ones I already have here because this building is far away and I still want it to be very light. So I'm not gonna put too much color on top. There is a building here, which I will demarcate there like so. And then there's a little fence here, looks like. All just blurred, so I'm just doing blur of color on this. Okay. There's a little door looking thing here, so it's just a box. Okay. And then let's do these houses that are over here. houses that are right here. So we're going to just shape the roofs right now, the highlights on the roofs. Okay, like that. And then this roof comes across. Let me get a little more paint. This roof comes across. This is like a light pole here, so I'm gonna just go over that, and then I'll go, because it's in front of the house, so I'll just go back over that so I can get this accurate. There's an eave here, kind of fade that in a little bit. And then something's going on here. There's a little shape here, and some shape here, some shape here. Blurred window in the back, right? For the roofs, we definitely want to have hard lines, as hard as possible, but everything is still blurred, so. And then let me go back to this building. Oh, I'm getting gesso on me, y'all. All right, let's bring this green across here. All right, bring that down. This is kind of a brick concrete cement block building, excuse me. What am I talking about? So I'm just kind of creating striations here where the course is on the cement blocks are. Mimic that, and then I'll go back in with my blue, which adds some more rusty looking color to this fence. So we can go back in there and add the details over top. I gotta put some more green in my palette. Love this green, lime green, what is it? Yellow green, excuse me. So really, really good. And then I have a lemon yellow that we're gonna put on top for the highlights. Shout out to Blick. All right. So I got some more paint in my canvas, in my palette. I'm going to do, what did I say I was gonna do? Oh, we're gonna do this other tree that's here. There's just some highlight areas in here, so I'm just gonna go in where I had the blue oil and just put some in there. I don't like that, how that looks. And then I'm going to cover this entire roof. Is pretty dark, so I'm just gonna make one first layer of green. Make sure we got sharp lines, and then I'll go back in and create some type of shapes so that it doesn't just look like a trapezoid here. Okay, go across. Yeah, so this is just all dark, and the roof comes up to here, just like this. Don't worry about covering these details, because you just go back in with the fan brush and put some more leaves there. Not a problem. Bring this down, the hard line there, and then that's pretty much that roof, aside from just a little shadows here. We got a window here, blurred window here, something going on here. There is another building back behind here, no blurred windows. Just gonna take the top of that building across and blur this out, because we don't know what it is for real. Anything here, nothing is really a hard line. Green in the windows, and then just bring this across, and then I'll just go back over it. Boom, blur that, take that down. Okay, I think I like where I'm at now. So let me blur this other building a little more, because these lines are a little too harsh for me. So I'm just gonna lightly go over them, and then make this a little darker here. That feels better to me. Just cleaning some stuff up on this side. Hard line at the edge. A little green in the windows, or I'm gonna make this glow so the sunlight is coming through the back. All right, let's do this water. Let's just add some green to our water. I'm gonna tilt the camera down so you guys can see what's going on. I'm just going to, you see where those highlights are. I'm gonna point them out. We see where all these highlights are. So I'm gonna go in and add same strokes of, I'm gonna go in and add same strokes of with the green into these highlights, and then blend them out. And then I'm gonna go back on top and add white oil so you can really see the highlights. And then if I need any touch-ups, I'll go in and use the blue oil. Okay, I'm gonna need a lot more paint for this. There's some in my palette. We're gonna cut that out. All right, so I'm just gonna take my brush, and just right now, I'm just gonna put some swabs in there wherever. Then I'm gonna go back in with the brush that I used for the blue to put on here. I'm going to blend it out. So what you also want to do, and remember when you're doing this, is that we are creating highlights that are in a ripple form, because the water, as he walks, is radiating out. So you want to, this is your chance to put a shape in there on top of the other ones to give your water even more body. Okay. So, and this we want this to look like it's radiating all the way out. So we're going to take this way out here. Right, and then this, on this side, because I want this to feel further away, we're just gonna Get the ripple here, and then we're gonna let the ripples dissipate. All right, let's get more ripple over here. Okay, need a little bit more at the bottom. Put a few more small ripples. And the water is kind of sloshes at his shirt. Okay, and then we're gonna take our big blue brush, right, and just smooth it out. Some white on here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go swoop. This is just the beginning highlights that we're adding on top. We'll use a smaller brush to add the highlights on top of these as we go along, but we just want to start creating some depth here. After this, I'm gonna use the leftover blue that is combining on this brush as I do this and take it up to here and use that to create the rest of the rust on the fence. Back and forth, smoothing out these highlights, not even any hard lines on this layer. Okay, these out. They disappear behind the body. I'm gonna come in and fix this when I do the shirt anyway. All right, so let's take this and we're gonna kind of add in our rust or our weathering into these bricks too with a little bit of blue I have on here. And then I'll be able to go over the top of it with a more defined line like we're starting here. Okay, so I might need a little help here with some color. We're gonna go, you know what? No, I'm just gonna go ahead and still take some color from here because I really don't need a lot. And just go back in with that. Nice. Some of that color up into these areas too right now. Why am I whispering? You guys cannot hear me if I whisper. Okay, I'm using just the leftover blue that's on my brush to give myself some of the darks that are in the background right now. Let me see, how am I liking my fence? It's a little darker here. Nice like that. Yeah, I'm gonna take some of this blue too and give myself some of the starter darks for my clouds. I'm just gonna make this very faint. Let's take this color, a little leftover color from here, and then we're taking it up here. Since the bottom of the clouds have a little bit shadow, just like a really tiny bit of shadow, so I don't need a whole lot of blue. The white's gonna take precedent here. White and the in-between gray actually. Ever so slightly, and then making sure that I'm making circular motions because we want the clouds to feel as soft as possible too. Cloud bottoms here, and they can be, you know, wispy and a little stringy because they are, I was gonna say cirrus, but I think they may be stratus. And stratus are very wispy.